We need to talk about the great betrayal of the European Union, how politicians from the right and far right have come together to destroy EU regulations and sell off the Union to American billionaires. And before we jump in, please subscribe. All the links are in my bio, and have a great day. So, to understand this story, we need to go back in time a little bit to 2024, the last European elections, which caused a major shift in control of the European Parliament, which decidedly shifted in a big way towards the right and far right. On the European level, national parties are a part of European political parties. Think of them as overarching or umbrella organizations. And in the European Parliament, these European political parties have party groupings. Now, for all of the European Union's existence, there has been the same post World War II democratic coalition governing it: the center right, the center left, and the center, as in the Social Democrats, the Liberals, and the Conservatives. But unfortunately, like 100 years ago during the 1930s and 20s, the Conservatives have decided that it's much easier, instead of negotiating with the Liberals and the Social Democrats, to just work with the far right. And this shift has been quite extreme because we still have the same European Commission president as we had the last commission, but unfortunately, she's decided to start dismantling her own policies that she passed in her first term. She's not the one steering the ship of the EPP, the European People's Party on the center right, and their long march toward their collaboration with the far right, not just at the European level, but currently in Germany at the national level, with the Chancellor wanting to be Mr. von Hindenburg himself, Friedrich Merz. See, the EPP is led by a man named Manfred Weber, and he is an arch Bavarian conservative from the CDU also. See, Miss Ursula von der Leyen is also a German conservative, and she's in the same party as Manfred Weber. And also, Friedrich Merz is the Chancellor of Germany, and he was the first one to break what is called the Cordon Sanitaire, or the simple rule that you don't work with the fascists in the government. Because right before the German election, Mr. Friedrich Merz decided to vote with the Alternative for Deutschland to try to push a little migration policy forward that wasn't ever going to become law, but he wanted to make a point. And is it any wonder that just a few months later that his own party leading the European Commission and the EPP, which is the largest party in the European Parliament, is openly collaborating with the far right? One of them's the ECR. This one's led by Giorgia Meloni. She is currently the leader of Italy, and her party is a successor party to Mussolini's own. They even use the logo of the first fascist party after the Second World War. And then we have Viktor Orban's crew. And finally, we have the biggest losers, the sovereigntists for Europe, led by the Alternative for Deutschland. And this has been a problem since this European parliamentary term started, right after the elections, because the EPP realized that on every committee with every issue, if they don't get every concession they would ever want from the Social Democrats or the Liberals or the Greens or the left, then they'll go marching over to the far right to just go along with them instead. And this is the politics they've been playing to paralyze movement at the top of the European Union. And unfortunately, because the EPP has so many national leaders, they have a dominant position on the European Council. So these things keep creating bigger and bigger problems. And unfortunately, this all means we're being held captive by Bavarian conservatives and far right figures from across Europe. Unfortunately, they've already taken huge chunks out of the Green Deal. This law has not even been fully implemented yet, and they've already succeeded in rolling back many provisions or destroying them completely, including provisions on deforestation, which will particularly affect places like Romania and Bulgaria, which are already being afflicted by intense deforestation campaigns, and many other places in the Balkans. And now they're trying to push forward new digital rules, all at a rapid pace, to deregulate the European Union and make the AI companies from the United States protected when they steal your data. They effectively want to hollow out the GDPR and replace it with business friendly pro AI nonsense that'll take away my privacy rights and yours, and will destroy the legal basis for not only the European Union, but also national and local laws in the Union and outside of it, as many other places have duplicated the GDPR and similar regulation. This is literally the Brussels effect In effect, it is the European Union that used to be a power that, when it caused regulations to happen, it meant other places would start duplicating them and copying them themselves. And these would usually be at high standards, which is a very good thing for the entire world. Unfortunately, now we have the German conservatives and the far right deciding that they want to torch the biggest power the European Union has and put ourselves, unfortunately, in a permanent supplicant position to the United States and whatever superpowers come next. And this is just the beginning, destroying our data protection, our privacy, our ability to fight against climate change. This is just the first steps that are rolling out and finishing their completion. They want major rollbacks on social rights and privileges. They want major rollbacks on labor rights and privileges. They want major rollbacks on everything the European Union has done, and they want to use the Union to enact their twisted and cruel nationalist and far right beliefs on the European scale. And this is incredibly dangerous. The European Union was designed to prevent these kind of actions from taking power, and now they've been given part of the driver's seat. And once again, we have to thank the industrialists, the German conservatives, and the far right for coming together to sell out Europe. Thanks, guys. You did it again in less than 100 years. I know all of this is very complicated and the news does not cover European affairs like it should, but you need to be educated in this. Your future will depend on whether this union rises or falls. Because at the end of the day, while it is often said in a fluffy way, the European Union keeps the peace in Europe from the allure and dangers of fascism and nationalism, ones that caused mass death and destruction twice on this continent within the last 100 years. And find your MEP, look them up, and write them an email. Ask them about what you care about, tell them what you think and what you want done. Because right now, we could lose our data protection if people don't scream and shout about this. Change is possible. I worked at the European Parliament. These politicians are cowards. They fear people when they go out into the streets. They fear people when you blow up their phones and emails because so few people actually do on a daily basis. We can cause any change that we want. The people have the power in a democracy. We've just forgotten about that for generations now. Now do some engagement or else no one's going to see. And this is too important for it to go quiet.